Previously on part 1 of our video, we talk about the 7 foods to avoid on a low-carb diet. Let's continue with part 2 of our video. 1. Juice. Juice is one of the worst beverages you can drink on a low-carb diet. Although it provides some nutrients, fruit juice is very high in fast-digesting carbs that cause your blood sugar to increase rapidly. For instance, 12 ounces 355 milliliters of apple juice harbors 48 grams of carbs. This is even more than soda, which has 39 grams. Grape juice provides a whopping 60 grams of carbs per 12-ounce 355 ml serving. Even though vegetable juice doesn't contain nearly as many carbs as its fruit counterparts, a 12-ounce 355 ml serving still has 16 grams of carbs, only 2 of which come from fiber. What's more, juice is another example of liquid carbs that your brain's appetite center may not process in the same way as solid carbs. Drinking juice can lead to increased hunger and food intake later in the day. 2. Low-fat and fat-free salad dressings. A wide variety of salads can be enjoyed regularly on a low-carb diet. However, commercial dressings, especially low-fat and fat-free varieties, often end up adding more carbs than you might expect. For example, 2 tablespoons 30 milliliters of fat-free French dressing contain 10 grams of carbs. An equal portion of fat-free ranch dressing has 11 grams of carbs. Many people commonly use more than 2 tablespoons 30 milliliters, particularly on a large entree salad. To minimize carbs, dress your salad with a creamy, full-fat dressing. Better yet, use a splash of vinegar and olive oil, which is linked to improved heart health and may aid weight loss. 3. Beans and legumes. Beans and legumes are nutritious foods. They can provide many health benefits, including reduced inflammation and heart disease risk. Although high in fiber, they also contain a fair amount of carbs. Depending on personal tolerance, you may be able to include small amounts on a low-carb diet. Here are the carb counts for 1 cup 160 to 200 grams of cooked beans and legumes. Lentils 40 grams of carbs. Peas 25 grams of carbs. Black beans 41 grams of carbs. Pinto beans 45 grams of carbs. Chickpeas 45 grams of carbs. Kidney beans 40 grams of carbs. 4. Honey or sugar in any form. You're probably well aware that foods high in sugar, such as cookies, candy, and cake, are off limits on a low-carb diet. However, you may not realize that natural forms of sugar can have as many carbs as white sugar. In fact, many of them are even higher in carbs when measured in tablespoons. Here are the carb counts for 1 tablespoon of several types of sugar. White sugar, 12.6 grams of carbs. Maple syrup, 13 grams of carbs. Agave nectar, 16 grams of carbs. Honey, 17 grams of carbs. What's more, these sweeteners provide little to no nutritional value. When carb intake is limited, it's especially important to choose nutritious, high-fiber carb sources. To sweeten foods or beverages without adding carbs, choose a healthy sweetener instead. 5. Chips and crackers. Chips and crackers are popular snack foods, but their carbs can add up quickly. 1 ounce 28 grams of tortilla chips contains 18 grams of carbs, only one of which is fiber. This is about 10 to 15 average-sized chips. Crackers vary in carb content depending on processing. However, even whole wheat crackers contain about 19 grams of carbs per 1 ounce 28 grams, including 3 grams of fiber. Processed snack foods are typically consumed in large quantities within a short period of time. It's best to avoid them, especially if you're on a carb-restricted diet. 6. Milk. Milk is an excellent source of several nutrients, including calcium, potassium, and several B vitamins. However, it's also fairly high in carbs. Whole milk offers the same 12 to 13 grams of carbs per 8 ounces 240 milliliters as low-fat and fat-free varieties. If you're only using a tablespoon or 2 15 to 30 milliliters in coffee once a day, you may be able to include small amounts of milk in your low-carb diet. Still, cream or half and half are better options if you consume coffee more frequently, since these contain minimal carbs. If you enjoy drinking milk by the glass or use it to make lattes or smoothies, consider trying unsweetened almond or coconut milk instead. 7. Gluten-free baked goods. Gluten is a protein found in wheat, barley, and rye. Gluten-free diets have become very popular in recent years and are required for people who have celiac disease. Celiac disease is an autoimmune condition in which your gut becomes inflamed in response to gluten. That said, gluten-free breads, muffins, and other baked goods are not typically low in carbs. In fact, they often boast even more carbs than their glutinous counterparts. What's more, the flour used to make these foods is typically made from starches and grains that tend to raise blood sugar rapidly. Sticking to whole foods or using almond or coconut flour to make your own low-carb baked goods is a better strategy than consuming processed gluten-free foods. The bottom line when following a low-carb diet, it's important to choose foods that are highly nutritious but low in carbs. Some foods should be minimized while others avoided altogether. Your choices depend in part on your personal carb tolerance.